Okay, I made a video the other night about the timing gears, and part of it was this crankshaft key that I was having so much trouble with. And a few of you mentioned that that key just does not look right. It should not be floating in that slot like that, and I agree. That's what they sent me. But luckily, out in the back garage, I have a second 454, just like this one. So thankfully, whenever I buy a motor or a transmission or something as a core to rebuild, I always try to buy them in pairs. Just in case the first one turns out to be junk, I got a second one that I can use, or I can go back and look at it for reference. And look what came out of that second motor. This is the key that the crankshaft company sent me. I got a brand new crank from this place. And this is the key that came with it. It's just a 3/16 square. And this is the key that came out of the old motor. So that's clearly a rectangle. That's going to be a lot deeper, and that would fill this slot. So this balancer's coming back off, and I'm going to take a look at that other key instead. I'll see if it's long enough to reach all the way back to engage that double row timing gear, but we'll take a look. Alright, there that little sucker is. You can see it just doesn't look right. It looks like too small of a key. So maybe it would have worked, I don't know, but I agree with you guys. It doesn't look right. So now I gotta see if I can pop that thing out of there without taking the timing cover off, because in order to get the timing cover off, you gotta take the oil pan off, or at least mostly loose, because it fits down in the oil pan. So I should be able to pop that out of there. Alright, sorry for the noise. It's winter time here and it's cold, and I got the shop heater on right above my head, so that's the noise you always hear. So this is looking pretty good to me now. This is the key that came with the crank. It was too short, didn't even engage with the timing sprocket. So this is the longer one that I bought. Both of those are square stock though. You can see square, square, and this is the one that I pulled out of the other motor. So that is a rectangle, obviously, and it's about the same length as the one that I cut to fit, so I know it's going to go all the way back and engage with the crank gear. So this makes me happy. But here's a question for all you guys. I searched, somebody said, well, try and find a rectangular key stock in 3/16 by 3/8. So 3/16 square is this one. 3/16 by 3/8 would be twice as tall, so just like this in a rectangle stock. Nobody sells that. Couldn't find it anywhere. I looked at McMaster, I looked at some other places. They sell 3/16 by 3/8, but not in a hardened steel. And this is all 3630, I think it is the automotive grade key stock for crankshaft keys. It's a hardened steel. So you can buy this in a soft steel, but you can't buy it in a hardened steel. Why not? Where do you guys get these from? It's a mystery. So thankfully I had the other motor. If I didn't have the other motor, I don't know what I would have done here. So I'm going to stick this guy in there. Another interesting and helpful thing that I learned from that spare motor out there, out in the back, is when I wrestled this key out of there, I noticed that that slot had what looked like some black RTV in it. And I didn't put any RTV in this one when I installed it the first time, but I guess it makes sense because that timing gear in there is just encased in oil. This whole timing cover is full of oil back there, and I guess oil could get down into this slot and seep its way out forward. So when I put this key in, I'm going to put some black RTV in there first, just to seal that slot. I wouldn't have thought of that, but that just... another one of the benefits of having a spare motor for reference that you can always go back and look at. So I'm going to have to clean all that up before I put the balancer on. I'm just going to goop some of this stuff in there and get this key started. All right, now that looks a whole lot better. I know that goes all the way down in that slot because I couldn't tap it down any further, and it goes all the way to the back. And I've got that sealed with RTV. So that's what it's supposed to be. I'm so glad I posted a video and you guys kind of set me straight on this. This is my first big block Chevy build, just so you know. I've built a lot of LS motors. I could build an LS motor in a half an hour. They just seem a lot easier. And I figured with this big block, I thought, well, what's more common than a big block Chevy? This is going to be the easiest build I've ever done. Yeah, right. Had nothing but little mini micro challenges the whole way with this thing. So this is a learning process for me. LS motors, most of them don't even have a keyway in the crank. The harmonic balancer is just a press fit and the bolt holds it tight and that's it. So this is my first experience with this keyway nonsense. All right, time to get the balancer back on. It's a good opportunity to mention I'm putting a carburetor on this motor, so I really don't need the crank sensor or any of the EFI stuff. I didn't even put the reluctor wheel in, so there'll be nothing for the crank sensor to sense. However, you have to put it back in anyway, otherwise there'll be a giant hole in the bottom of the timing cover and oil will spill out everywhere. So that's why the crank sensor is in there, even though I don't even have a reluctor wheel for it anymore. Okay, I'm going to measure this again, see if I get the same depth that I got the last time. A little more than a ½ inch. It's about the same measurement I got last time, so balancer's all the way on. I think we can call this one problem solved. Thanks to you guys. Thanks for watching, thanks for commenting, letting me know I was doing something wrong there. Give me the opportunity to get it fixed and done right. I appreciate it. Cool, see you in the next one.